Hi, this is Prashant Bharadwaj. Welcome to the project management module. In this segment, you will get a good overview and introduction to this very important module. Project management is probably the most widely applicable topic that we will address in the operations management course. Irrespective of your major or your profession, the tools, techniques, and principles of effective project management will certainly help you. So what is a project? Before we even talk about what a project is, let us look at some examples of projects. Let us look at these amazing examples of construction projects over the history of mankind. The ancient pyramids, the 17th century Taj Mahal, and the modern day engineering feat of the Hoover Dam. Each one is an example of a successful project involving incredible amount of human and monetary resource spread over several years. Now let us look at some design projects. Designing a car or designing a software like Microsoft Vista. These projects can require 2 to 5 years, involving millions of dollars and a number of high-skilled professionals. Few more examples. Projects of organizing. Look at this example of organizing the Summer Olympics, as they would do in Brazil in 2016 in Rio de Janeiro. Can you fathom the number of activities involved in organizing this particular project? Look at this simpler project of organizing a business event with about 50 professionals. All of us can relate to what goes into planning and organizing such an event. With these examples, let us define what a project is. First, a project is a unique activity with a specific goal. Building the Hoover Dam or completing a term paper in your class. That's a project too. The goal may include specifics pertaining to cost, time, and human resources. For example, you may not exceed $50,000 to complete a feasibility study for a product launch. Or you have to complete the project within 45 days. The project may be moving the warehouse from one location to another. Or you may have no more than 5 people to complete a product design project. So cost, time, and human resources. These 3 things are important. Next, we must be able to identify the tasks or activities and the subtasks involved in the project. The time taken for each of these tasks and activities. The precedence relationship between these tasks and activities. Let me explain. Let's take the example of a house construction project. If you're a project manager there, you got to understand all the tasks that are involved in construction, from excavation and foundation all the way up to painting and finishing. You got to know approximately what time it takes to complete each task and subtask. In addition, you got to know which activity precedes which other activities, which activity succeeds other activities, and which activities can be done concurrently. That is what these 3 are. If you look at all of these components of a project and relate to completing an undergraduate degree, you can see that that is a project. You have a goal here. The goal is to complete in 4 years or less. You know all the activities that are involved. You know what budget you have. You know what are the sub-activities. You know what are the prerequisites for each course. So that is the precedence relationship. If you understand all of these things, and if you manage this project well, there was a good chance that you would or you will get out in 4 years with a good GPA. So this, in a nutshell, is what a project is. Now, let me take you through what exactly you will study in this particular module. Number one, we will talk in more detail about how to define a project. I just gave you a simple overview just now. Next, we'll talk about the life cycle of a project. From conceiving a project or project inception all the way up to completing a project. What are some of the activities that are involved? We will talk about that in the life cycle of a project. Then we'll talk about ethics and project management. Ethics, very important topic in every area, but in project management, it has a lot of significance since project managers deal with a lot of money, big budgets, they have a lot of power, so they definitely need to work in an ethical way. Next, we will talk about the network methodology. The network methodology here is a methodology by which you solve a project management problem. Today's software have the capability of automatically generating these networks, but we will see how to do that manually just to get a feel for that. And there are two different kinds of networks. One is called the activity on node, the other one is called the activity on arc. We will focus more on the activity of node, which is simpler. Like I said, even if you don't know how to do that today, you can still be a project manager and function successfully. But we will still go through the mechanics so that you will have the basic understanding of how Microsoft Project or a Primavera or other software work with the network methodology. Then we will talk about some tools for project management, starting with the Gantt charts, which are literally 100 years old, started by Henry Gantt, which are useful in managing simple projects. Then we will also talk about two other methodologies, critical path method, CPM, and program evaluation and review technique, or PERT, both of which were also started in the late 1950s. So they are also 50 years old, but they're still very applicable. I will lead you through some numerical examples so that you will understand both of these methodologies well. Next, we will talk about some of the software. Specifically, we will focus on Microsoft Project, and I will demonstrate to you how the software works and what its capabilities are. I definitely cannot make you an expert in Microsoft Project in this particular course. Finally, we will talk about area called project crashing. Crashing here means basically reducing the time taken for a project, reducing the budget or the cost that you're going to incur for a project. Because projects incur direct costs, indirect costs, and there is a penalty cost also potentially in a project if you delay the project. So we will talk about how to look at these costs and see how to reduce the time taken and the cost incurred in a project. So these are the topics under the project management